Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gold Seal Exam Prep webinar. My name is Chanel Roberts. I'm the manager here for the Gold Seal Certification Program, and I have my assistant manager as well, Tara, on the line that will be answering all your questions today. So just a couple of housekeeping items. This exam prep webinar is being recorded, so if you for any reason have to hop off or want to watch it again in the near future, you can do so. It will be linked on our exam webpage, which will then be also linked to our YouTube channel. So we'll have that posted by early next week. Excuse me. Another thing is, if you want to ask questions, please use the Q&A box. So we'll ask that you not use the chat for today, just so that we can respond to your questions one-on-one. But if you use the chat, it will be also one-on-one. For some reason, it's non-functioning today for us to be able to respond to everyone. So what we'll do is have you type in your questions in the Q&A box. And you can also do another thing and wait for the end of the webinar to then ask your questions on audio. So what we can do is you would just raise your hand, and I will lower your hand and unmute you, and you'll be able to ask your question audibly. That way everybody can hear you as well. So you have two choices there. Throughout the webinar, if you do want to ask a question, Tara will answer you right away. So we'll get going now. Thank you so much for everyone that has joined. Just a reminder that if you have not yet booked your exam for the September 23rd exam, please do so. You have up until 8 days before the exam to register. So just to make sure that you are booked in. For those of you, if there is anybody on this call that is not registered for the exam, please reach out to us or just double check that you do have an approval to write the exam. And we would have had sent you an email on that if you've been approved to write the exam, and then you'll be able to choose the exam date. So we'll get started here. What we're going to go over today, a couple of things that you need to know for the exam day. So about the exam itself, we're going to just review quickly the competency self-assessment tool, the online exam system, the question formats, and the exam duration. I'm going to go over some tips and rules for the day and a little bit about what happens after the exam. We're also going to show you an example of digital badges, and I'm going to show you a video from some GSCs that have done some exam tips for everyone. And we're going to lastly review the technical requirements. So a little bit about the upcoming exam. It is September 23rd. That is the second last exam for 2022. The following exam is November 25th. So if you happen to need to reschedule to the November exam, you can do so again 8 days before the September 23rd exam. So what we do is we send out an email to all the writers who are already registered for the exam, and that happens 1 week before the exam date. What we provide to you in that email is the user account login information and confirmation of exam and the time as well. So as I mentioned, the exam is September 23rd. It's a Friday, and it begins at noon Eastern time. Please note that it is an Eastern time and not local time, so just be sure to log on based on your time zone for 12 p.m. Eastern. There is a $125 rewrite fee for missing the exam if you do not notify us before the exam, and we will reach out to you if we do not hear from you. You can write the exam from your home or office. That is definitely one of the perks to having an online exam. Just make sure that you have a quiet space to write it. We ask that you log in at noon and wait for your exam to appear. So it may take a couple of minutes before it pops up, and just wait for it to appear. If it's after 12 and it's maybe 12:05 and you still don't see your exam, please do email us, but usually it appears right at noon. So what do you need to know? What we ask of exam writers is just to quickly review the competency self-assessment tool. So all of you may have already taken a look at this before you applied for the GSC application. It is a type of questionnaire, but it goes over all of the sections that may be on the exam. So at the same time, what you're doing is verifying that you do have all the skills and competencies for the designation, but it does prepare you for the exam in a sense that all of these sections will be touched on the exam. So all of the sections like business skills, post-reporting, project management, anything that has to do with your designation based on those competencies will be touched on in the exam, whether it's 1 or 2 questions or 5. It's randomized as well. So those sections of the competency tool will be on the exam. If you're not sure where to find that, you can go on our website under applicants, and all the self-assessment tools are there to be downloaded. So just to show you a little bit about what the exam system looks like, there is also a support document that is available to PDF, and it is located on the exam page that you can download it. All of the snapshots and explanation of how the exam system works is all in that document as well. But I'll just explain a couple of important parts here to you today. So what you're going to see is a login page and a dashboard. When you log in, you're going to type in the username and password that we provide to you in the login email that we send to you 1 week before the exam. And you can see 2 versions of the dashboard. You would see either this view, which is just the listing of the exam, or you can see this dashboard view, which is a picture and then the listing of the exam. And all you have to do is click the play button to begin the exam. It'll tell you start or resume course. Don't worry that it says course, it's just the way that the system is set up. When you start the exam, you'll be given this screen, and then there will be an acknowledgement statement that will appear. There is a sample of what that looks like in that exam support document that I mentioned. So you can take a look at that and see what it's all about. But basically, it's an acknowledgement statement that we ask you to read through and then confirm, and then it will bring you to the next part of your exam. So this is a sample of what the exam questions look like. This question, just so you all know, is taken from the sample questions that are on our website on the Gold Seal exam page. There are sample questions for each designation, and there are about 20 of them for each designation. But it gives you an idea of how they're worded and how they look like when you come to the exam. So what you're looking at here is just a couple of notes on the time remaining and the questions. So the time remaining will be based on your specific exam. I will go over in a couple of slides the timing and the duration for each exam, but it is based on which exam you're writing. And then the same thing for the total number of questions. So you may see question 1 of 180, or you may see question 1 of 150. Again, it'll depend on your type of exam, which I'll go through in a few minutes. Just one functionality option here. You do need to select an answer, or it won't be able to proceed. It will tell you empty answer, try again, and you'll be able to then proceed once you answer the question. And then when you're done your exam, this is the screen that'll pop up if you've passed. If you haven't passed, it will show you a red X, which is not very nice, but it'll show you a red X, and it'll tell you your score. So regardless, you do get your score at the end right away, and it'll give you that to you right in this box. We give you this statement here where we tell you congratulations, or unfortunately you did not pass, and we'll give you the next steps here. So there is instructions that you'll just need to read through here. However, don't worry, you don't have to remember everything that's on this screen. What we do is we send you a follow-up email with a survey attached to that once you've completed the exam, and we usually send it at the end of the exam time, which is towards 3:30 or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So at this point, when you're done your exam, all you have to do is either close the browser or click on the log out button. So in terms of the question format, I showed you an example, which was a multiple choice radio button type of question, but there also are other types of multiple choice questions. So we have options where there will be a multiple selection question. So it will say in the question, select all that apply, or it may say select the 2 best answers. Some question types are also with regards to scenarios. So don't be too surprised if you see a couple of paragraphs. Just take a deep breath and read through those paragraphs. You may have to read them a couple of times, but you still have time to do that. So we do give you more than enough time to get through all of these questions. So just try to take a couple minutes to go through them and then select the best answer. There also may be some fill in the blanks questions as well. And again, it's all a multiple choice exam, so there will always be options for your answer. The questions and the answers are randomized, so that just means that not two exams are alike. So if you have a friend that's writing the exam in another city, they will have a completely different exam in terms of questions and answers. At this time, there is no ability to revisit previously answered questions, so that means you cannot go back. So just be mindful of the fact that you're in the question for a minute to a minute and a half. However, there's no need to rush either, and those GSCs that I mentioned will mention that on the video I'll show you. But you do have time to read through and select the best answer. The pass mark for the exam is 70%. So for those of you that are rewriting the exam and may have written the exam at the time when it was a 75% pass mark, it is now 70. That was recently changed as a guideline back in April, and it is in line with all industry related certification exams. As mentioned, there is a difference between certain exams and their duration, as well as the number of questions. So the estimator, foreman, and safety practitioner exams are 3 hours long and 150 questions in total. The owner's construction manager, project manager, and superintendent exams are 3.5 hours long and 180 questions. So a couple of tips during the exam. We always say answer from the perspective of the designation. We've had a lot of conversations with our GSCs that have mentioned this as well, especially for those of you that wear a couple of different hats. So, there are situations where you're maybe a project manager and an estimator at the same time, and you have dual roles. The exam that you're writing from, though, and especially in regards to the competency self-assessment tool, which is really important to go back to, is just to make sure you're focusing on that specific designation when you're answering. Of course, you have to select an answer, even if you're guessing. Process of elimination is really helpful here as well. And treat scenarios as if they're real situations, especially for the ones that have scenario-based 3 to 4 paragraph questions. Put your daily role hat on and determine what would you do if it was a real situation. And that sometimes tends to help you answer in the best way. A couple of rules for the day. So some do's and do's nots. Do choose a place where you can write uninterrupted. We do ask that you put away all personal materials, books, phones, anything like that. And please do not open up your web browsers or on your phone, whether it's on your phone or your desktop or your laptop. We ask that you write the exam with everything closed. And please do not copy exam questions and answers. That will be also in the agreement that you confirm once you start the exam as well. For technical issues, just contact us by email. That is the fastest way to get a hold of us. What we'll do is we'll be triaging email requests or questions that come through. Please include, if you have a specific browser that you're using, if there's any issue, or a phone number to get back to you on. And once we've resolved your issue, confirm with us just quickly that it's all good and that you're continuing with your exam. In the last few exams over the past year, no one has had any problems at all, so I wouldn't anticipate that you would have any issues. And I'll get through some browsers as well, some recommended browsers that will help you avoid those issues as well. After the exam, what we do is, as I mentioned before when I showed you the system, the online system, is that the official results are provided right away. So as you saw on that screen, they do give you the result in percentage right away. Results are final, and what we will do is also send you a confirmation email the following Monday to then let you know your next steps as well as your official results. And this is what will be included in the exam depending if you've passed or if you have not passed. So we'll let you know pass or fail, your overall mark and percentage. If you didn't pass the exam, we'll provide you the information for booking a rewrite if you wish. And we'll give you the link to that application form. And for those that pass the exam, you're officially a Gold Seal certified professional, and we provide you with information on your certificates. So we still provide officially printed certificates. They're sent to the address we have on file. So in that email, we do ask that you respond and confirm that the address we have on file is correct. We do provide the full address in that email so that you can verify it. And we do allow a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks for processing, just because of whether it's through courier or Canada Post, and it's done through our third-party printer as well. Something new to the Gold Seal certification program, as of March 2022, we've introduced digital badges. So digital badges they go hand in hand with your official printed certificate, but it's something you can use online in many different formats. So what we wanted to do was make sure that everybody's accomplishments were recognized, especially in this day and age and where we're using social media so much. We wanted to make sure that there was a way that you can show your accomplishment digitally. It also allows you to showcase your professional commitment, and you can actually have employers, anybody that's looking at your digital badge to verify your credentials. So oftentimes we'll have certain organizations, like for example, CIQS, to verify if you are a Gold Seal certified member in good standing. They can always click on your badge and verify that themselves. So there's various ways that this helps yourselves as individuals and also employers. They are portable, so what you can do is you can even save this badge, use it in your signature. You can send it by email, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, anything that you feel you would like to share it on, you can do so. And we also provide the option to include it in your LinkedIn's licenses and certifications. So that's a very easy click of a link that we provide you in the email, and it really fills it in for you. You just have to verify and then confirm, and it's added to your profile. What we do is after your exam, so when you get your confirmation email the following Monday of the exam, we will also then send you a separate email for the digital badge. So just a heads up that it is valid, it is secure, and you can click on the links. It is from Gold Seal, so that it will give you kind of a validation of what to click on. So this is what it looks like. Our logo has changed since then, but it will show a gold logo that says Gold Seal, and the badge above here is what you would see on your digital badge. Along with this, it also provides you a digital certificate. So when you click on, this is what the badge looks like. If somebody was to click on your digital badge from LinkedIn, let's say, this is how it would pop up, and they would see that you are a GSC. And they would see all the information here in terms of your position, which we now have named designation, who it was issued by, and then at the bottom here where you see certificate in blue, that's actually downloadable in terms of a certificate. So if ever you need to send that through as a PDF, you're free to do so from your digital badge directly. Okay, a little bit about how to prepare for the exam. So as I mentioned, review the competency self-assessment tool and do go over the sample questions as well. Some of the GSCs in our video coming up next will let you know that even doing sample questions from other designations also help them a lot. Prepare with the designation perspective in mind. You can also discuss company policies, procedures, that kind of thing with your coworkers. Industry guideline bulletins may be good to review as well. And then review material for key courses. So for example, this is a big hint, do review your mandatory construction industry ethics course that everybody had to take in order to get approved. There is a section on ethics on the exam. If you've taken, for example, Construction 101, reviewing any CCDC contracts will help as well. So do look over those types of courses and material if you've taken that in the past. And that will help you prepare for the exam. There is no study guide. So I just want to be clear on that there is no study guide that we provide because it is an experience-based exam. So as much as we say, study some of these materials from these courses, the majority of the exam is experience-based. It's what you do day to day. So if you're comfortable in your role and you know how to do your daily job, you will be okay with this exam. So right now, I'm just going to show you a video from our GSCs.
For how to prepare for the exam, I found it useful to take the online sample questions a few times, actually. There's 20 questions in total. Taking them a few times really helps with getting you in that mindset of what to expect, and they're very helpful. I also took the foreman and the project manager exam, and I did find that those are very useful.
Reviewing the practice questions was the first thing I had done, and that was a huge help. Not only did I review the practice questions, but I did them probably 3 or 4 or 5 times, even though they're the exact same questions. It helps just to read the questions and see how they're worded, what the answers are, and getting that familiarity. And some of those questions are the same questions that will be on the exam. It's exactly what you should expect when you go in to write the exam. Those questions are the exact format that you will be dealing with.
Lastly, to prepare for the exam, completing the competency self-assessment tool. Just going through everything really helps remind you of things you've learned over the past in past courses. It helps you identify some key items which maybe you need to do a quick refresher on.
Ethics is extremely important overall in our job. In our position, ethics is probably the most important thing that you're going to deal with on a day-to-day. And with that, reviewing that past course material as it was recommended, extremely important. Overall, when reviewing the questions, rely on your instinct, your experience, and the best practices that you have done on the job and that you've witnessed on the job and that you know to be the best practices, that you instinctively know to be the best response. It's usually the right response. The questions on the exam are not trying to trick you or deceive you. They're very straightforward questions, even though some of the responses may seem like they're partially correct. There should be one answer that stands out to you based on your experience and your past methods and best practices that will stand out more than not.
Try and avoid clock watching too much. There were 180 questions in the superintendent exam, and you had 3.5 hours to complete it, which means you have 70 seconds per question. Once you open the exam, there is a clock in the bottom corner, which you can look at, but try not to stare at it too much. Set yourself up by breaking the exam up into 4 quarters. What I did was every 45 minutes, I would check down the clock and check it against how many questions were left. Some questions refer to you being the general contractor and some the subcontractor. So pay attention to the question and make sure you understand how you're answering it.
Okay, I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions for any of those based on that video, you can always let us know. That video is also available as its own video on our YouTube channel, so you can always rewatch it again. And it's also going to be incorporated in this recorded version as well. So we'll just go over some technical requirements. Your monitor, I mean, as long as you have a laptop, a tablet that's at least 11 inches, your desktop, anything like that would be great. Please don't use your phone to do the exam. You need a physical keyboard. Maybe, you know, it depends on, it's really just if it's attached to your laptop or not. I actually think we should remove physical keyboard because at this point it's just a click of a mouse with this exam. Mouse, touchpad, or trackball. When we talk about browsers, Chrome really is the best one to avoid any type of technical issues. Internet Explorer is fine, so is Firefox. Sometimes Safari or Edge gave one or two people in the past some issues. So just try to see if you have the most updated browser. It's the best thing to do is just double check that everything's updated and try to use Chrome or Internet Explorer. Do make sure you have reliable internet connectivity. That way you don't get any frozen screens or anything like that. However, if it does happen, don't worry, because wherever you've left off in the exam, it will bring you back to that spot. So, you know, it's happened to a couple people where they've had to log out and just close their browser entirely and start a new one. And you just have to log back into the online exam system and it'll bring you right back to where you stopped. You can use a non-programmable calculator. That is okay to use. And I would suggest that you have the exam support document either beside you printed or as a PDF on your computer in another screen if you ever need that support document next to you during the exam. So we can go through some questions now. If anybody has any questions to ask for the whole group, I can unmute you and you can ask your question, or you can put it into the Q&A and we'll go through some questions now. For those of you that do not want to stick around or, you know, are free to go, it's up to you, or you can stay and listen to the questions. And again, like I said, all of this is being recorded and you can watch it on your own time as well once we have it posted on our channel next week. Justin Sullivan, you have a question. You just have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was wondering about the multiple choice questions. The ones that there are multiple right answers, like select more than one. Are there partial points or is it just pass or fail?
No, it's either you get the point or you don't. So either you get those two right answers or you don't.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone else have a question here? I'll just go down the list. Any other questions at this time? Okay. We are free to answer any questions you have, you know, even if you email us or you can give us a call anytime before the exam. Not a problem at all. Feel free to do so. And if you had anything else that you were struggling with or that you needed information on before the exam, just email us at goldseal@cca-acc.com. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Good luck to everybody on the exam, and hope to see a lot of your names with GSC after it. Take care. Thank you so much for joining, everybody.
Hello?
Sorry, you have a question, Samantha?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I did receive an email saying you've been confirmed for this date for the exam. And that's all I need, right? I don't need to
Yeah.
reconfirm or anything.
No, you don't need to reconfirm. And what you'll get next is 1 week before the exam, you'll get the official confirmation email with the login information.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care.